me ma director china me ma no akwaba director ma china pay
speaker me da wase
na ebombo ko de
nyame adomo o de ache
okay
ye ho de an pay
ado pay me so me da se pa say u busy schedule nyina no ye to nsafre wetimi aba e manage pa presidency saying
nyame adomo ho de bia ho ya
okay
pay mu na nkasa
but o microphone ne embra wanimu kakra chimbra wanimu kakra
yo I'm saying me make kasa was a Benjamin ne kakra nyasa
they say they come up
me that's it
and see at the end also at the office of the president under your able leadership with the office of Diaspora in 2017 or penny year na dey say na ni so ade hunti ye establish na afi yentimi ene Ghana fo ye tu kotena fo a etiam na ne no eni nkomo anopai abrochirefo bebre na no etie Kumasi fotie and cry fotie across the country bia no air show wo TV no eso
yours Mr. Speaker I'm say what say you di kan no o mampani na nida so ni ade da na koma ho say na e wo so ye bibisa say oba obeba office of the president no yenya aso bia e be hwe diaspora for nya so na em say manekwa MPP aban na nkasa no na ansa na oye beba aban mu no ye manifesto no na ye de atum se ya de ba ko ye di daso o ma panyin so obi anim se onya medi president kura da broche de odi ho akode abapa
former foreign affairs minister
apart from say even near your opposition na che say oboa no ho say obeba be ye president no ye ni na ne ti abrochire okoba de bia odo mu tete no say fa na ho ne free nti na e ade odi ho akode aba na oba bia nso a one ye tfa adwene ni ankasa bi ka say ye ho na mete nti oba ne fa adwene na okọ America no fa ba bia no bia ye kama no hu no no anso onim ne na fia diaspora no na party no etimi aya ma party na ajatum se bibisa hia se diaspora no ye ba o se etimi hye kana ne etimi nya somfaso na ye ma manfo adwene befie na se ye ka se bi return and ne se bi awo sorry abetra hanko na emom wo aho kadie bi wo resources bi wo network bi a obetimi apulu na ni nyina ye abafie abeboa nti obae no krem busumi na yesi bu na which is February after swearing in February na chese I mean Addo oka say enko yes adwuma na me ne mabedi e kire ne nko for kakra wo office odom no gusu a yes adwuma
very well me that's it na adopese adwuma na amoaye no emu kombo ne yepese yedi 2019 benim say out of mo vision and your mampanyin vision more the year of return no ebaye currently as we speak what is the status of Ghanaian diaspora
say say nkomodie no mu no me pese metre mu kakra na ma kire mu so kakra say no yete he ye ka say Ghana diaspora we me say the Ghana qualify and say Ghana diaspora so diaspora ye tre mu ma akofa even omo a enye Ghana for bi omote abrochire a omo wadwen bi se omo pese omo ne Ghana ebo se ebia nam kwan bi so no ye ton omo na nanom anase omo papa no ekodi abrochire through slavery nti was a category of grofo no a chese descendants of slaves no omo kodi amanone especially America and South America no omo nso nyina no wa o person twebe ye bia no eno so ye fa se o ye diaspora no bi nti o fa ne sa na chese diaspora no ncheche mu kakra isisi e beka ne se ye won crofo groups to be ensa bia ye fa ne se eno de ye diaspora no ye obi ati se o te Ghana hasisi no asore no wakotra bro once out here bro chire ne de o ye diaspora na ye diaspora no nso omukotra broche na acheye mo fa recent migration of Ghanaians krana bebre akotra ho awo nkwala ama omo asefo ewo ho nti the youth in the diaspora no and so a major category of diaspora I know so yeah we say him say kwala bi ho no mo a omo nyina no omo ye Ghana for ya wona broche kata na da no so bibia ne kasa mu ne bibia no e che say oye ebia British and so American and so whatever but yenim say na say efi Ghana ni papa ne ne maame no mo bia efi Ghana nti na che say e kai o makai ho e na afi so Sister Midi Kachiro, almost descendants of slaves from Kodi Hono. Also, almost any jet who said, almost person, almost Ghana, a sign, almost in answer, a come and Sana will be out hat, Midika and a Brabono officer was so called, and I say, Okusia dear, and I saw calling Yereho, and I saw Kunukunho, the recent migrants, in these broad categories of a diaspora. Microphobia nyina omo hia ye na no na nhihye ya aban nyina no ye pese ye betwe ama omo aban ye omo nhihye bia ye de atokwan mu bia no pese ye hu se sankrofo no omo betimi ne ye aye baako ye na ye nyina ya boa ye ho na ye boa kro no ama kro na tumpo.
Okay. Now with more reports and our magazine I mean who ekin kai mon 70 billion as at 2019 modi year of 10 no ever no more estimate say Ghana for 2 million and a year to continue for one thing for America, UK.
I'm saying UN data crowd 3 million. Ghana for the
Ghana for the yes. Okay, I wanted to get the current figure because then we know 2019. Now, what is the policy? Meaning say a ban of programs from 2019. Who see I wouldn't want us to go much into that, but focusing more on the policy after the year of return. The policy measures are more so that one more air bano say okay, we have decided to come, but air bano yeni MA to
I'm saying no man a good crime no there even budget review and normal course no normal making sure say diaspora for no or concerns can be addressed be need to say be a passport to normal acquisition and even the number of pages of what passport to say and any the normal 5 years be na 10 years and sana wo temahabo and as a port and authorities and so measures na ebia and also a normal p na wow mo request na ba ma ye dey ato aban anima various budget na aye I take care of some of these things but they say the true kesiye ba akokra na say na ya ye ho adwuma to dada president for time na ya chro ho ya ma be act law of parliament ropa no so the whole march
representation of the
people's amendment act no bibi da ho de da chese no so bi edi hu akone aba kakra
samba na nefo no benya akwanya to aba
se ne be ya ombenya akwanya to omo nso aba nyina kogina electoral commission no so na minim se ankanya covid moano no so boano ho se ne be ya nka obetimi ama omo ayesa ade no na ekosu wa na obesi akodi covid by ama bia so edane kakra nti yo ware shemu ene nobody so why be compelling kakra because of court action and ebinuma take na HSM rakwan bisubiana ade bi o why was no ni nyina ebo ama ye koyanim kakra nti wiye no nso a ade ba ko so na minim se dada diaspora akoma ho paaye dual citizenship say and also we Ghana ni sad to me ekurofofro so nia kwan so na adwuma bi o hono a obetimi aye adwuma bi o ho a wontimi nya say e di hu nkomo na e koso nyina no say be ya ne Ghana for enjoy bia no diaspora for no so betimi enjoy those are the things, the concerns of the diaspora and the policy wise where the direct attention Kukwemu ye this all the time to make sure say all the necessary government agencies are taking these things into consideration.
Okay, my young fan one after the other, especially with a Niema after Ghana be the year of return, Modiaba in place. You did say the year of return saw a lot of visitors are a buy, especially the Americans and then the British are more a buy tracing from their descent. We know so say Omampenyi granted about 126 foreigners. No person womu benya abodin kata na womu beye Ghana for and naturalize Ghana. What has happened? The aftermath of that event.
Nina Susansuana na hwehwe ne sense be ya omo enso betimi akase omo ya Ghana for ampa. Nti even number now kind 126 originally no president numbers they command na they got two na ni mo plan so ka say monko so na monfa sade no makro no 252. Okay. Now emu 126 and na available immediately to me processing on crate na Americans. Nti no backlog no I mean so yeah ho adwuma no so enche bia no bete enka say bi be koso aba crofo aka so ensaka mo de na ni nyina ne say opese obi be say put your money where your mouth is. Nti oni akro no so bibi na so person de be dom I was telling you now, no so who say oba no so Ghana ni say Mrazan city biano na the protective will be na protecting international investment opportunities be available no any privileges biano almost betimi anya sa instance so no bi betimi anya sa amfa so no bi we no tia and so apart from that no obi anim say ukra team no obi anim say tourism a bit to me a big opportunity for us to also get enough economy. Na oye we nyina no na we say ma omkwan say omo betimi aba kuronum aba behwe kuronum aba behu na ewom ma enso omo ani bagimu na omo anya repeated visits na omo nyina no ubetimi anya so mfaso nti tourism as you have seen has become a big major part of the strategy to really bring in the diaspora. Nti na ni nyina ne say omo ba apart from sika de betu ni bottom obeba betra ha obe spend this sika no and also obeba na economy no I injected with sika no and no opportunities no so omo betimi ahu etie na omo so ahu ne also omo ye nti you can say feel Ghana, eat Ghana, taste Ghana ni no ni nyina na ni nyina no oni akro omo ba abehu se na esitie bia na panso omo bi kan so omo ba nkrofo pi aba abehu no maybe a onso ani je ho omo ba they are also exposed. We are not just tourism and keke investment opportunities na wo hono mo investment drive so I expose omo to no and ni nyina so mo mutimi the potential that we have say 1D 1F say planting for food and jobs. The beyond aid agenda na kasano the whole thing is premised on say ye betimi aboa ye ho ene ye nkrofo a wa ma no ne ye ho this kana aba economy no na ni na eboa se ne be ya ye betimi anya the alternative source of
ye ne sa ni nyina no aban through mo office no and outfit no asheda no ameki a policy directive ye nim se ebe protect wo investment o mo de be ba na
ai egusua the bia the big cracker ho make say GIPC for mo ti ho no mo review o investment code ni nyina ai nche bia no bibi be ba be to ho no ma amanfo be hu say yes proactive measures bia ye dey to ho say ne be ya omo eba no obi a timi anya somfaso ansa ne ye wo bibi a ye no so nansia ya ye hodwuma ni foreign affairs for any ministry of finance, any ministry of interior, any attorney general's office. I know your friend Homeland Return Act. I know you're directed at historical African American Serbia, almost befia, almost benya you know, no maybe a bit me a moment in that's what say or fear no more banner almost so you're welcome. I guess you're welcome, you're not just opening himself or the Waka de be a bad, not just owning baby. Or Baba.
Yen Europa and Comakra because you said they are 2024 no ebeba. In 2020 no the anticipation no was said and Combenia Quenya no Atuaba for the very first time. Edian is see a quine money electoral commission no engagement. A half and a marco drew a banner registration processes. Say a brochure for be a part of it. Ekita hudie ben ana money Ghana for woman and AD in that effect.
I think electoral commissioner Nankasa I can be so ama who say na said say or yes the Omonkasa throw a hand to us even as an office ama ye delegation akushia or any or ma trans edin komo ehun nhihye ni send your mom person omo ye omo no ma bia no eni nkita ho so omo person omo di omo akwa ama no ne omo ankasa so akwa ama no eni nkrofo akodi nkomo ehun say ampa send your nkrofo eni asia bre no so omutimi ye hu bibi ena na me di Ghana na me kase eye covid a ebaye no amwa ama che se ahomboa bia na nko mugu kwan so a omobo a omo no obi anim se edu ba bi na oye bibi enye ye akwantu okura ode officials ne nkrofo bi ebe tu kwan amako ba bi kura akoye edwuma kura no na se wode di em se the general understanding is obi ati say sadi we there e be Ghana hakra no so ji atumu a edu maybe na sad discussion no was taking place say elections no yento ana say me yento I mean inti kwan bi so ma sa you know mute kakra na say abetwamu a ye fe the economy ebu a bad normal president etimi aba out abeka ame who say there you know yakọ back to normal kakra no sa anko no ebekoso ame sure say ye beto aye nkomo no so any yisi no ama na hu say nhihye no wo a on sam family bio na ye hwebe bi betimi akọ say nkomodie mu no ya na de bakọ ya na twentwen normal so kakra how ye betimi effectively no atimi ayama nkrofo ato abano for parliamentarians na omonso was elected in the presidency in the end as far as the president presidential vote here concerned and it easy one to deal with, you know. But the difficulties and the logistical arrangements that have to be in place to handle the parliamentarian one is something that has to be agreed. I said, you know,
the key fact.
Yes.
Okay. I think Kessben. It's exactly 28 minutes after 8 a.m. 92.9. So, and I would hear no Kumase and in Patima would hear live on 93.3 Kessben TV and across the country. When they get our television, so share Go TV, so share channel 19. No cost social media and its official handle no on Facebook. Kessben TV. Obeho yan live streaming no. I feel Kessben FM 92.9. So it's streaming live on Facebook and YouTube so your channel no live on Kessben TV and keep the comments coming na yenewu eni enkomo mo amonane anope yedi enkomo essence the director wono in charge of diaspora affairs at the office of the president with Jubilee House na pay yeneno edi enkomo uncle Kwasie wa abebio ana anope yeneno edi enkomo about mo welfare any kwan a yebefa so a Ghana fo a wo so atena monane a kakraba wo nsem no wo betimi abagana uncle me ba so bie because for the last 1 month to 2 months yes Ghana ayede we are economy nyina no yes ayede majority of which na no ye kai kosi se niema bebre na no ho a ye nye wa ha as a country bebre na no ye kra ana ye ba companies ye major companies na no mo ye into production ebe ye adwuma wi because ye foreign companies na wo mo atem sika ni nyina no ediko. How are we ensuring say Ghana fo nso a interested in businesses. Wo mo betimi di sika ba no at this crucial moment no ye betimi engage you more to see how we can salvage the situation, especially when ye pese ye a lot of foreign currencies into our country as well in terms of your foreign exchange yenya.
I'm said Nina na me di kan ka say beyond aid agenda no. Any about time park care program no nyina ye kwan a aban no ye fa so a long term vision even covid ni sabe as insensemi my kwada na aban no ehu se e wose ye bibisa ehu hia nti said looking for the opportunity to really make people produce and do things and make sure say you're generating enough revenue here in Ghana to do what we want to know. And no na bema confidence ama man for obi so if ni be fi abonten no so dey ba be ka ho. All the measures as say no current measures are government no put in place no it goes to point to the say bibi say na opeso oye nti amano ne for na ono so de bia ye bode say almost mfa omde emra no na ni nyina besi so me no ti hekasa say your delegation and in crofa omnam investment code drum into them going from western coast to the eastern coast through DC near to make sure say you become who say no maybe or no you in place championed by GIPC, of course, the right institutional organization exactly all the major government organizations are part of this whole diaspora drive into baby to say GIPC or more diaspora office or baby to say foreign affairs or diaspora home because that is the front line of the diaspora engagement in the various countries and then even say tourism has got this initiative also targeted diaspora into all the government agencies are working proactively towards making sure say to be harness that potential that exists out there and then manifesting in all the acts that are being proposed, that are being brought to the table. All these measures, I mean, Bibiano, you can say be a share diaspora 70 and not a divorce and I say a decouple from the overall management of the country. It has to be part and parcel. Into BBT say ID cards and normal yes and generate confidence and you reduce crime and say fraud and normal system. It's all targeted at also almost so send a bay area let me be registered and I say about 12
and also may basis na ye di no enkomo especially with the national identification card especially with using Ghana card as we are told by the president. Let me do a few of the messages na afeyentu akomodie so me ne uncle kwesi abeba ede komo no director at the Diaspora Affairs at the office of the president. Na Felix J. Ediaba, Mr. Speaker, good morning. Please ask Uncle that how did he organize the year of return? Because it was so massive one, an idea, an initiative from him. He has done well. I commend him for his effort. And Wade Abba. Kindi Jr. said, Kessben, God bless you. You are indeed doing the work of a journalist. God bless you for your good work this morning. Fit for you at the Abba Andrew. I say, Mr. Speaker, good morning. Please ask the Honorable Director for me. How could you expect the diaspora to invest in Ghana when Ghanaians are defrauding us living abroad? I am having an issue with a guy that I invested over £100,000 because I don't have anybody to fight for me. The guy compromised with the police to make the case a useless one. Now I am so in much pain that there is no way I can retrieve my money. And Andrew, what the Abba? Fit for you, okay. Andrew, fit for you. But that's say any or messy, no. Probably be an uncle because he ebinya new year at the amount. Some things, you know, it's CC no uncle. How do you deal with that? Because one, nipa no abrochire ebia wo ni busuani bia no a obeda edi bibi abesi ne so so opese woye but mabodewro wa amanane muni groups ahiehi moko communities Ghanaian communities muni omwadidi nkomo at the time a wo mu benya the mindset esese ye befie be ye adwuma no. What is the process? And he found this almost static free, especially when I say Lipano and Bushani Ghana.
Yo, I know the I'm say a crime beast. So no, Medicare can say, yeah, addressing the diaspora issues. No, yeah, shed die near and unquency or say, no, or mine. Yeah, overall of things and then they address it. In Chrono, who say in the banking sector. The institutional changes in any normal, the sanitization, was part of it to make sure that Yetikromana BBT say gold, friends say men's gold. A defraud on Crawford, yet Ghana for Uncle Titihanguan defraud. A brooch far, the Omutsika Bishi Munina were defrauded. In TB part of the bigger agenda of government to sanitize the system. To make sure that organizations can be accountable, can really be, transparent in a manner. It goes a long way to deal with that. I know that these addressing this issue, also said has a relationship. Personal relations, confidence. Team tricksters abema sano ebia ho adwuma bedin kakra. But even as we are sanitizing the whole system, making sure the money transfers in the normal genuinely and come through proper institutions and organizations, it goes a long way to address the system. I'm afraid they say there will be no crime in the system, but eventually it goes a long way to inspire that confidence among for to be able to
but the direct question that may be said is me a Ghanaian yes
so you need to depend on institutions.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That is why the institutions should be made more accountable, more transparent, more operational wise, should be above board. Because you gave a very good example of why you have to use an organization like that. Because back through the banking system.
Yes.
Are you going to deal with a fraudulent bank, a bank that hasn't got any asset to support its operational requirements, or you want to deal with a bank that is properly set up, properly constituted, governance, board-wise, and everything to be able to deal with the issues that, and as investment, now will handle through them. So these are the things that are required. And Amanonia Titi holding sad of course there are also incidents of fraud but limited because there are credible institutions that you can deal with. You hardly would want to deal with a friend to say so business governance and business are supposed to be looked at to make sure that they operate above board to enable people to have confidence.
You can discuss the digitization agenda and how it can affect the diaspora.
I'm glad you mentioned that because it certainly fits into the overall agenda. The consequence, direct. I remember some years back in a brochure having this argument with somebody talking about corruption, and me bringing out that point at that time saying, look, the long and the most effective way to deal with it is digitization, making sure that system improvement, system
are working properly.
Yes.
But how does it affect diaspora? Now, we are told that we have a database from the National Identification Authority. I register kind of phone address will be basic information. We should be able to trace that. We are told that several governmental institutions and agencies compile it so that you get me a syndicate one common data across board. Now we have come to the level where the vice president has taken the initiative. Say Ghana card, should become an e-passport. To the extent say a bedroom baby, Ufri Ghana, Ukodru Airport, be for instance, be a Heathrow Airport, but Honoma, Ukra Ghana card that they can be able to access with information and what Ghana card in the Sunina. How is this measures getting to Nipa where Ghana near what here brochure? And how are they being involved?
I think my office, a year, the National Identity Authority at Transit, that call to send you be and we got the assurance, every indication that they are prepared to even go there, to register people.
For Ghana card?
For Ghana card, yes. Okay. They are just about to start it in the course of the year or so, you know, to go there and make sure that Ghana card or interested in acquiring it, they can also get it. Because like you are saying, that has got a very big potential of sanitizing the system, making sure that NIPA representation is only one. So that you wouldn't have a situation like the president was even drawing attention to the amount for retirement age in the Indeed, when that happens now, I think as soon as amount for being the benefit of having a database that can be used by institutions to even for marketing purposes, sell to them, do more business, have credible people that they are dealing with, have credible addresses system that they know say when these people have got this. I used to live in Sweden, and in Sweden, for instance, once you enter the country and you are given that identity, that card, bank is be a counter. They don't even ask you for anything. No one's a card in there, baby. You card in the yes, you call. So also account. You card information. It just say now if you card address name BBA was on a say card bank card could open the honeyco. It is say be out here now now the idea say na the confidence that you have by so doing in that system would be so high, say all that you will do subsequently will be transacted through that sort of a year. The digitization is going to go a long way to let us also know the numbers that we have in the country for purposes of planning. Really know who is where, what country, which part is so highly. Of course, we can easily visibly tell, say, Addo is highly populated, this place is highly populated, but on a regular basis, we will know how, to
the numbers
exactly.
Very well, but my miss away one more time, with the agenda of e-passport. Do they still require their passport anyway? Oh,
you still require a passport. I think you look. I think the vice president was at pains to explain this. The e-passport, effective when you are coming in to the country with the e-passport for purposes of identify you as a country now in the first place. You certainly don't need a visa to come when you have that. And then the airlines now register with to enable us to take advantage of it. Would also make sure that you are identified as the person, and therefore you can board the plane and come to where you are coming to. In addition to that, I think what you still require any passport because certainly there are some places that when you are going, you have to go with a passport. Remember, a passport still remains a travel document, just as he also, and also remains an identity card to identify you. So these two basic definitions, basically clearly distinguishes the fact that one is required and the other is also equally required.
I got Tremuma Mina minimity for NTSA, probably almost 1 month near 80 and a bit me at At what point in time now, Obi a Ghanaian na Ofri Amanane air Ghana, say Albany Krum and Albany country more, or better requires or better visa.
You are required to have a visa when you are not using a Ghana passport.
Okay.
And you are coming into our country. Then we have our rules and regulations. Indeed, our rules and regulations, unless there be another country, this requirement of no visa requirement. So what I say, in which case you can come without a visa. So Barbados and out of again this whole initiative, a president or person will encourage diaspora mobilization, diaspora, engagement. Yet that bilateral, all call Ubi country now. All use a different passport and there you require that visa entry.
And for instance, any panel cry a dual citizen. ABR, for instance, Okra Canadian passport and our Swedish passport. Now, Okra Ghanaian passport. For the fact say Okra Ghanaian passport, and whom he has obeyed visa, right?
Oh, Okra Ghana passport, yeah, whom he has obeyed visa. And I think perhaps we need to take advantage of this current discussion to draw attention to the fact that per the Azza.
Professor Kukuaza,
initiative that called Supreme Court. Dual citizenship is defined by the way Ghanaians so there. So, and yet by the fact that it be a wakoji a passport we say that's a passport way. That is not what makes you. But the fact that we way and what's akoji way. And that is what makes you that dual citizen. In Tisa will be a dual citizen. That's a me bagana. That's a minkura Ghana passport.
Yeah.
Nothing says a
citizen of
Ghana for travel purposes. That is why a visa is required. So, in Timingrophobia, Ghana phobia, or no officer or bagana officer day. They say passport to the Ghana passport because we are Okotraman on American passport no Ghana Ghana the American passport never Ghana the British passport never and the fact that we are Ghana still you are not carrying the travel document in the chest in the chest was all visa at the Ghana. But I also know that when you have the two. And I, can attest to that. Ukra British passport, Ukra Ghana passport. Oh, quite instructions and then on my immigration service. I say, only I can not me my who say, or you way as well. And also in here, so obey visa.
Visa, no. Yes. Okay. Interesting. My main kind messages, be 47 minutes after 8. And Major Uncle Kasimanako 200 Juma. So, as it, Mr. Speaker, God bless you for hosting Uncle Abebio in your studio. It's a fantastic work. You guys are doing this morning. Roji, anyway, first in Krigwa and the Deba, Medasi, and it will mess, I'll say, it is indeed interesting. Why is it that Ghanaians returning home will have to seek visa, and why do they pay for the visa? The amount is so huge. That's the way for Sweden and Deba. I say in Sweden, Ghana ni embassy. I think it's a embassy in Denmark also. You'd have to travel from Sweden to Denmark.
Yes.
Now, wako apply for visa and sign away to me about. But the fees charge, they feel say expensive.
By the Ghana government.
Yes.
I think even though I agree with them, say expensive there, expensive, no, they compare baby. That's what I say. I can agree with them, say expensive. But at the same time, I think it conforms to some, world standards. Kakra. Be on my crobis to a honor, be Ayana, or more dainty, or to me subsidize your body. So, where that's what they do, baby, sad, and they be a chrono, so they are expensive, very expensive for you. But having said that, I think they do have a point. And then it's compounded by the fact that the person has explained, say, travel from so far to this place. But Ghana, look, at times people have to be reasonable with ourselves, with everything that we ask for. We cannot afford to have embassies all over the world. Even if you have an embassy in some country, to say US Ghana, you are dealing with about 50 states. Where there will be better travel from Alaska to another place. And yes, our cousin also to consulates. All these are very expensive outfits to keep, and I don't think so resource-wise, competing with other resources, such a meaningful thing to be pushing all the time. But reasonably, we are represented in several countries. I think on top of my head, and I think 53 or so countries there. We know that we have our embassies there, and then out of that, we also have the consulates listed all over to enable to lessen the burdens that we travel has imposed on certain people. But
I say, good morning, Mr. Speaker. Please ask Uncle Abebio about the charges for Ghanaian visa from USA and why is it so? Obinso question I will be saying no.
I think US minimum specific amount now. If I used to know, but I think I've forgotten. But I know that it has been reviewed in the past. Especially during the year of return. We made sure that things were a bit relaxed for people to be able to come in. We even started with this visa on arrival for some people. Even some people need to be advised. I think to. It's not like tax. So who say now for your tax consultant. How to limit you. In the same way, I think on the case of migration in Norman, we need to have people advising people. If you have dual citizenship opportunities, take the Ghanaian passport. Make it a one-time cost to be a you don't need a visa. You don't need a visa for them. Oh wow, but I'm for say anything to you said they won't about American. Look, yes, they are, of course. They are Ghanaians, they are also British, they are also wherever they find themselves. But get the opportunity to give them the Ghanaian passport as well.
So but how proud will one be? Say what's in America? Over 30 to 40 years. What will many now? Now be only happen to say we hold the Ghanaian passport. How proud will it be?
Like I've told you, apart from say the issue of owning the passport, you should see it as a travel document. One, first and foremost. Then the other identity issue, and one outfit as a person identify as a Ghanaian. Then you want to, yes, it becomes a. But seriously speaking, living outside there. In the past number of years, I've realized the change in the attitude of the Ghanaian kids and the Ghanaian youth out there. There was a time I was London about it, so because Ghanaian, he didn't even want to own up so a Ghanaian. Things have changed. It all started with, as far as I'm concerned, my observation, I've been saying this everywhere. When Ghana qualified for the 2006 Olympic World Cup, it changed completely, and we went and we did well. People felt they needed to identify, they needed to relate. The kids were quite excited about knowing where they come from. And since then, it has been something that we have been able to build on all these years. And more so during this year of return, the momentum that it has generated all over the place. Everybody tried to come back to Ghana, party in Ghana, all the things in Ghana. I'm afraid that issue is less of an issue. So people are advised to take the opportunity of owning those two passports. Whatever you might have the opportunity to own another country one, please take it, of course. But please make sure that your Ghanaian identity, your Ghanaian passport, you can have it. Please have it. And more so with this additional Ghana card and the NHS, they say, Banjabong.
53 minutes after 80, Baha Kessben FM 92.9, 93.3, Kumasi, Kessben TV across the country. And pay Munina and Moshe. I say, good morning, Mr. Speaker. I'm watching you live from Kumasi, Otafu. I'm enjoying your discussion. And please ask the man in your studio for what do they do concerning Ghanaian suffering in Arab countries. I'm Sir Prince, I know they are. Now, yes, Mammy Miss South no. Ghana for I will say, you can't say Arab countries, Dubai, Qatar, some of the areas, come home, you pay housemates, na agent, be as an agent. No, Abefa and Kwalani Bebre, especially the female ladies, one more beswa, one more normal decor, one more democra, inhumane treatment. And one more at the mouth. Money this uncle for next year.
You need the Foreign Affairs, has been doing a lot of work on that. Ministry of Labor has been doing a lot of work on that. But there's a unit at the police, police service, involved in all these things, you know. So every one of them is working towards this, dealing with this issue. I think officially, as far as I know, on top of my head, there is even a ban on trying to get people to go and work in these, you know, areas. So there are unofficial organizations, as in normal cases, in all situations, that are operating, that would need to be, you know, brought to book in order to deal with this menace. But some people have found themselves there already. But you realize that even during COVID, you know, we did a lot of evacuations. Ghana government, you know, had to bring in some people who were stranded, who were victims of all these things. So it's a constant problem that one has to deal with. Even as you are trying to, you know, sanitize the community, say, travel by all means, but travel genuinely with all the required papers and to where you are definitely required to do what is required. You know, I think it's also part of the government agenda. Say we are putting in place some organizations that will have that right to do that supervisory once these people are in those countries. You know, to make sure that the kind of agreements that people have gone into, you know, can be monitored.
Okay. Finally, Mr. Way, Office of Diaspora Affairs at the Office of the President and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Muduma Mudieno, and so you been dantem.
Nantemo in the sense was dantemo rather than a complimentary and rather than also a quiet bako. Office of the President and what we have at the Foreign Affairs right now is a unit. Okay. It's not a bureau. It used to be a bureau. As a bureau, no, it was at the higher elevation than what it is right now because of the creation at the Office of the President for the purposes of that liaison work that has to go on. No. The one at the Foreign Affairs, you know, is the unit and is the front line that, you know, deals with the diaspora in the communities, in their host countries, and rightly so. We have been working collaboratively with them all this time that we have been in existence. To the extent that last 2 years in Kenya, we did a conference there with all the diaspora affairs officers from selected countries to see how we can, you know, improve on the services that they deliver and how we can collaborate from the Office of the President with that unit to make sure that we deliver the services that Ghana government requires. But let's be very honest. All this time that there has been the diaspora unit at the Foreign Affairs, seriously speaking, very little was even heard. Of course, they were working, but you know, when you are undertaking some of these initiatives, you need to give it that political direction, political focus, exactly, to make sure that it does what it's supposed to do. And that is where we have been quite effective trying to give it that political.
What is the update with Ukraine, Ghanaians living in Ukraine and students now, more update on them?
Oh, and I think Foreign Affairs should be the appropriate to give the figures, and you know, but even Foreign Affairs crowd during the course of all that, you know, at the peak of it, you know, they would admit to you that you will struggle to know the exact numbers because some people are not there. Even as Ghanaians, even as Ghanaians, of course, that's what it means. Even as Ghanaians, you know, just said unofficial documentation. You know, of course, the Kasane BBM, which is Ghanaian, but you wouldn't have even the records to show. Say only a chrono, say ni na sitremo etio. That would always be a problem. Of course, through the scholarship secretariat, you know, the Foreign Affairs was able to also get a good handle of all the students, mainly those people who are there, no, don't want to school for. But according to the school for called the non-for being so dear actually. Obedient a year in a coy, obedient and go for the Awarian Sagu, you of a friend, I say, now couldn't indeed all sorts of people are there. At the reality, the numbers are very difficult to get a handle on. But I think it should be appreciated. Say, the effort that the government put in place to make sure say omo person omo ba sika e betua omo abetimi aba omo ba omo initial welcome settlement has been very, very well organized and very, very much appreciated. We have international organizations too who in times like that always come to help, which is IOM. IOM has been very, very helpful in dealing with some of these issues, even when it was Libya, when the civil war, and I say Libya uprising, whatever it was, so there was at its peak, and they came in to help in the evacuation of Ghanaians. But at the bottom line, I suppose, in all this, and you evacuate a willing person. When you exactly, or say, the ship are basically on, or the player basically also on fra. At the end of the day, there's very little you can do about it.
Okay. We say good morning, Mr. Speaker. My name is Dr. Emmanuel Asiedu from Kessben. I need the Honorable Abebio's number. Kindly give him my number. It's very, very important to me. I need to have a discussion with my love. What you have done this morning, Mr. Speaker. God bless you. Mr. Speaker, thanks for bringing Mr. Abebio for such an important briefing and explanation to Ghanaians living abroad. Greetings to my sister Sheila Backman Abebio of Ghana Police from Lord Opoli messenger with the Aban Lord that say and or text with the Aban. We say good morning, Mr. Speaker. Ask the man in your studio, the Ghana embassy in the United Arab Emirates, don't help to get passport. It's even a problem. Okay, I think say what you want to mean in this getting a passport from the embassy in UAU, no a problem. That will be your answer to that.
We name this specific issue, but I would like to say, in getting a passport from any of those countries, very often the processing of the passport in Ankasana is done here.
Okay.
So, and not all the embassies have got equal capacity in terms of operation. Okay. For instance, the embassy, the High Commission in UK is fairly well constituted and fairly, and capacitated, established. Almost all the government civil service, you get the labor, the health, the almost all representation there. Whereas they are not of equal capacity. Okay. I wouldn't be surprised if they are all more limitations. Be a recent try to build it up. Certainly it's not going to be like they would. But I believe these things can be passed on to make sure that it can be done. Obi so per passport, not so tibia. Bear in mind that the passport is no longer the old passport that we used to have, but a biometric. Certain your presence and the gadgets for processing has to be in place to be able to do this. So
okay. Now we would have to do this conversation oftentimes. Now I'm gonna for no NTS near money be a coso Ghana. Once I make trato na fancy.
Yo, say medica med dawase. Say akwenya ya odi ama me ababetra ha atimi acheche no me many asopi. And I on behalf of Manonifo, so medawase say almost 7 o'clock. Bonnie devil kakra, almost problems and issues, Say by a bit to me at here. Say I buy any abide it to I can be and so the speaker, my best speaker knew the other the care the question party or your almost is almost and so I tune in. Tianum near your wing and I say. Omuntia na esuni emfaso nti adamase se mo timi amaye kwano da bia mo be fe bia nsuo mu awaye abroche kro nsuo mu ne awo mu kra de emfaso so nti ha de
but abroche na de ho wa brabo ne kama enti na krofo kom person beba no
enti na ebinum so adwane aba no it depends on how you see it, but seriously according to obi be say exposure in general e bi any penny e mawo ehun no maybe different perspectives in life. I think what the world should know and what the Western world and everybody should know is that basic human instinct to to migrate, to travel, no, will forever be there.
Okay.
It needs to be managed. It needs to be properly done so that it doesn't bring untold hardships on Nkrofo. I'm going to go through desert. I'm going to go through difficulties in trying to do it. You know, to the Biana, oh shit, was it now? So difficult in terms. So yes, I did na. Children who say na ntisakra na bia nka wotena fie so a ga bit be abon hode yeah to cry say aba ya beto Nkrofo ati ha ya ba beto Nkrofo no eh ya ba mo beto won se hu se bi no mo ye pass because to say the situation so indeed we are say the obi on ma ware de no ko eh that was all kind of kafo bi ho obi so school obi so ho say obi so ho but ni nyina ne say ni abai no any drumming of all the message that we have been telling people then they say ubenya kuntuhia ebe kodechi nti boa ni nyina yam siesie ye kuro no se be ya uhwan na se o ba wachi a so be ba betu kuro papa bi
akobeda na Frank Adu ya boa say good morning Mr.